Hey guys, good morning. It's Tony. I wanted to make a quick video. I think the one that I made yesterday didn't have any sound, or I actually don't remember what happened. But you are seeming like you're pushing now. Yesterday's drop was absolutely nuts. The news from yesterday was pretty crazy. Um, and I think yesterday what we talked about was that we break a certain level, we were going to come down super hard, and we did, right? We ended up breaking the level. I think I talked about it yesterday. That level broke, and then we ended up coming super hard. I think it was like an hour trend or something. I think it was like down here. Yeah, I think it was this trend here. So I said that we do break this trend, something like right here, we're going to come down super hard down to like 424. We did hit 424, came down a little bit lower, all the way down to 420, which was the next level. I did not expect to drop so hard yesterday off the news that we had. But which is fine, right? We always just change our setup and see what happens. But yeah, 424 was where I thought we were gonna go. 424, 423, and that's only with that break of trend, right? Which is what I told you guys yesterday. So I'm not surprised that happened. I am surprised that we did drop harder to 420. That was kind of unexpected. I did not expect such a hard drop to 424, right? As of right now, I am bullish. We did close the 4-hour bull trigger on SPX overnight, and then you are closing it on NASDAQ in about 2.5 hours. If you do have any kind of rejection, I do see the rejection happening now because we are on mid-channel for the NASDAQ, right? And essentially, I'm following the NASDAQ because right now it's basically pushing the market to any direction that it wants. It's not really about, SPX is cool, but I think big tech right now is basically what's pumping the market. So that's why I'm following the NASDAQ right now and looking at the VIX and the DXY, or the dollar index, to see where it's actually pushing, because you've been pushing super hard on the dollar. So any kind of, essentially any kind of push on the dollar is going to affect, what is it called? It's going to affect it's going to affect SPX and the NASDAQ, right? So we did have this range here on the dollar, right? So you did end up breaking to the low side. I mean, you could see a retest of this 1069 level today, maybe, right? But for the most part, I do already have my target set up, and it's just these order blocks here on the 4-hour. At 106, and then also down here at like 105.8 to like 105.6, right? But if you break this order block here at 106.2, chances are you'll come all the way back down to this order block at 105.8 and 105.6. And if this order block breaks, chances are you come all the way back down to maybe like a 104.4, right? But that really just depends on on what is it called, on if trend breaks or not, right? So let's see this. Let's look at the daily. Let's see where our trends are. So you have this. We're on channel right now, right? So let me get rid of these so we can start a new channel, because I haven't actually made one in a while. So the daily, I mean, the 4-hour is bearish, right? So I'm not surprised if we keep falling. I like looking more at the 8-hour. 8-hour already closed bear. Yeah, so I'd say I'm pretty bearish right now on the DXY. But let's set up our channels on the dollar to see where we're actually at. So, right, obviously we're on a bull trend here. There you go. Let's set this up. We can set this up here. I like this ideally. I would ideally like this a little lower, because I want these to touch, right? I want it to be like this. I don't know if I like that. That's fine, I guess. This might be a little bit better on the 4-hour, but we're just trying to do this quickly, so we'll do this. There you go. So, as of right now, we are trending down. Well, we're still trending up, right? We're still in an uptrend, obviously, on the dollar, but we are starting to push down a little bit. So we'll go from here. We'll push this up. There you go. So because we already pushed down on the dollar, I can see us dropping all the way back down to maybe like this level, which is the first order block. So given where we are now, we're right at midpoint, right? So again, you could just do something crazy and recover like this, right? You could do something like that as of right now. I personally don't think so, because you already broke range, but I would not be surprised if we do, right? But I'm personally a little bit more bearish on the DXY right now, right? Just because that 8-hour, right, closed bear, right? Usually on the 8 hour, we tend to have these big drops on the 8 hour for the dollar, and they tend to not really, go away from the drop, right? So you drop, 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 and then you see these drops, right? So I'm not surprised if we see something like this, right? Something like what happened here, which would be a drop of from these highs down to here in what? A day and 16 hours. So a day and 16 hours, right? So would not be surprised to see 1.15. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Look, it'd basically be a perfect match, right? This same drop would happen here. You'd go all the way back down the trend. So as of right now, I am expecting us to drop on the dollar down back to this trend here, right? Back down to here. And then because we've been so strong, I would expect this to be a full recovery, right? So you drop here, and then from here, you like do something like this, right? Like that is something that I am fully expecting because the dollar is just so extremely bullish right now. It is getting very weak on the weekly. So you're starting to see a curl, but again, you don't care about this until it actually closes, right? So what happened here? You close that bear trigger, drop super hard, right? Close that bear trigger, kept dropping super hard, right? Close that bear trigger, you drop super hard. Overall, we're still pretty bullish on the dollar because the monthly is running on a bullish trigger. But look at that, you're already starting to see some sort of a curve on the dollar for October, right? We just opened we've been open for 3 days, so we don't know exactly where this is going to go. But you could have a top of trend here, right? You do have a trend here, right? Like you do have, actually, no, you don't. You actually broke this trend, right? But you could have a curl, right? Like right here, and this technically could be like the top of trend. So this might be the push. You might come back and retest like I don't know, like a 102, and then you shoot up to the upside by a lot. I'm not expecting that. We'll see what happens, but for the most part, I do think the dollar is set up to drop back down to like a 106.2, which means that this should make the SPX and the Nasdaq keep pushing for the most part pretty hard, right? And you actually already broke trend on the SPX, right? So you broke a full 4-hour candle on trend. SPX, fully expecting us to go back right now to like a 424, maybe 425, 426, maybe halfway of a recovery of where we dropped yesterday, right? So I'm immediately, very bullish on what's it called, on the Nasdaq, and also on and the SPX, right? So as of right now, very bullish. It looks like we're actually breaking this mid trend, right? So if this mid trend actually breaks, I can fully expect us, right, to go all the way back up to like a 14.8 Nasdaq, which would essentially mean we do a full recovery from yesterday's drop, right? So if we do push, I'd say something like this, and I do think we're gonna push because the VIX is extremely overbought, and if we do something like that on the Nasdaq, or we do something like this, and we can definitely do this if we have good news today, and I think there's like PMI or OPEC or something. So if news comes out good, this could definitely push to the upside, and we can have a full recovery by the end of this week. So we'll see what happens. I'm personally very bullish right now to maybe a full recovery, possibly a squeeze towards the upside. If we do end up recovering this full thing from yesterday, I think we can squeeze extremely hard back to like a 432 or even higher, right? I can definitely see that between today towards Friday. Is it going to happen? I don't know yet, but as of right now, I am extremely bullish to the upside, especially because of that 4-hour close. And then on QQQ, we do have a 30-second gap on, I think it was 361.85. So we have a gap right here, right around 361, like 86, 85, 84. So these 30-second gaps don't like staying open. So I'm more than likely I'm doubling down at open with calls and more longs, especially if SPX keeps pushing to the upside on this lower time frame, and then you can see like that. There you go. See, pushing. I would definitely take this, all the way up to at least mid trend, right? There you go. So definitely think that we're going to at least mid trend here, at least to like a 420, like a 425-ish, and then you could possibly see a drop, right? So I would take this definitely up to at least like a 425, 426, and then for the Nasdaq, I think the Nasdaq can actually push us way harder because look, you're already breaking that mid trend, right? Mid trend breaks, you could go all the way back up to 14.8, which would actually be higher of where we opened up yesterday morning, right? So especially with news, if news comes out really good, I think you can push and do a full recovery towards the upside. So I'm 100% bullish for today. So I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.